Sheriff Dice is going to start by briefing us on the clearing the building. I'll go ahead and talk about the threats, and the commissioners will be talking, Commissioner Maxwell will be talking about how this affects voting and how we've reacted as a county to be able to make sure everyone gets to vote today.
And if each person could say and spell their name and title, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am Sheriff Kevin Dyke, Chester County Sheriff. At approximately 6:50 p.m. this evening, the Voter Services received a bomb threat via email, during which time the Director of DES, along with others, made a decision to evacuate the building for safety and precaution purposes. It was during that time that the Sheriff's Office was notified. Once we arrived on the scene, we dispersed our explosive dogs to clear the building, during which time it was cleared, nothing was found, and all safety and secure measures were then put in place.
Good evening. I'm Christopher Deverena Sarobe. The last name is spelled D-E space capital B-A-R-R-E-N-A hyphen capital S-A-R-O-B-E. I'm Chester County District Attorney. I'm here to echo what Sheriff Dyke said, that the building is safe and secure. We worked at Chester County detectives, local law enforcement, provided some assistance to secure the building. But we also contacted the FBI immediately. We've been in coordination with the FBI about this threat. I can tell everyone that this appears to be overseas in origin. I'll defer to the FBI's statement about where it is, but I know they are working off an idea that some of the IP addresses are coming from Russia. And what is clear from all the recent news reports and information from the FBI is that this is part of a persistent, coordinated attempt to call in bomb threats to swing states in order to disrupt the election. And we prepared here in Chester County for something like this. We deployed all of our resources just like we planned. And I'm happy to say that the building is safe, that the threat appears to be dubious, and we are functioning as if, just like we planned. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Commissioner Maxwell to talk about his team's great effort to make sure that every voter has a chance to vote tonight and get out the information about where they can vote if they were disrupted.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josh Maxwell, Chair of the Board of Commissioners and Elections here in Chester County. To my left is Commissioner Mary Moskowitz, who's going to talk about some of the, Commissioner Eric Rowe, going to talk about some of the things the DA mentioned. At Chester County, we take election security and security in general very, very seriously. We were prepared for the GSC and our other government buildings for any threat that might come through on this election day, or quite frankly, any other day. So our staff was very prepared for this bomb threat. Got the GSC up and going after some dogs were able to look for bombs. And some of our work was delayed for a short period of time. Our election staff is still full throttle, ready to go. Emergency services staff is made quick work of this because of the preparation that they had. And we're incredibly proud of our election team, our emergency services team, and all the law enforcement in Chester County that did a great job keeping us all safe today. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Commissioner Marian Moskowitz.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Marian Moskowitz, M-A-R-I-A-N-M-O-S-K-O-W-I-T-Z. I'm Vice Chair of the Board of Commissioners. And I just want to talk a little bit about this coordination because it involved not only our district attorney's office, our sheriff's office with our dogs, our amazing dogs, the FBI, our Department of Emergency Services. Everybody has been prepared in the event something happens, and everybody did what they were supposed to do. We are very grateful. We are now back in the building. We did not lose much time, and mail-in ballots are being counted. There's really no delay because that's in a different building. So we are set up to start collecting the vote tallies at the GSC, and everything is running smoothly. Thank you. Commissioner Rowe?
Good evening. I'm Chester County Commissioner Eric Rowe, E-R-I-C-R-O-E. The Chester County Government Services Center was home to 2 polling precincts here in Chester County, West Goshen South 2 and West Goshen South 4. Those voters who were not able to vote at the Government Services Center are being diverted to 2 neighboring polling precincts. One is the Seventh-day Adventist Church on South High Street in West Goshen Township, also known as West Goshen South 1. The other is Glen Acres Elementary School, also known as West Goshen South 3. Those voters who had not been able to vote yet will still be able to vote until 10 o'clock p.m. Chester County Common Pleas Judge Nicole Forzado signed an order extending voting at those 2 polling precincts until 10 o'clock p.m. Not only were those 2 polling precincts located at the GSC, but the Chester County 911 Center was also at the GSC, and it seamlessly transferred to an alternative location. I think this incident showcased that we were prepared, that we had an incident command center ready for any situation, including this one. And I'm pleased to say that we should not be terribly delayed in getting our results from most Chester County polling locations, apart from these 2 locations that were disrupted. Thank you.
Questions?
Sheriff, I don't know if you can answer this question about how many people were in the GSC at the time and how long they were evacuated and then allowed back in the building.
I can't give you a specific number. I know voter services was in the building. Our EOC was assigned there, as well as members of the Department of Emergency Services. I would say by the time we arrived, the Sheriff's Department arrived, the building had been evacuated at that point, which was probably within 10 minutes of receiving a call.
And then when were they allowed back inside?
After about an hour and a half after the sweep was done on the building, as well as the parking lot area, they were allowed back in the building. It was rendered safe.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the FBI still involved in the investigation?
Yes, the District Attorney's Office, Chester County detectives have been in constant contact with FBI.
Thank you.
And the email was sent to whom? Who got the email? Was it to a specific person? Was it a group of people? Who got that email?
It's my understanding it just came into voter services.
So a bunch of people got the same email? I'm sorry.
Voter Services Collective Office Address.
Okay, so like a general email?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll add real quick that another county in Pennsylvania voter services office got the exact same email at the exact same minute, right, that we received it in Chester County. So it adds this layer that this is coordinated and that this is a dubious threat that everyone's.
Do you know what county that was, other county that was?
I think it was Center County.
And was that the only other county that you know of that received the same threat?
Whether they're the same or not, they seem to be linked either by, the FBI tells us that they seem to be linked, and over 10 counties have been affected and been responding in different ways based on that.
We had heard some reports that some of the emails were sent in Russian. Is that what happened here?
Ours is in English.
Can you talk about the nature of what was in the email? What exactly it said? I mean, generally it said there's a bomb threat in the government building.
Yeah,
but
if someone responds that it's going to explode or something to that extent. It's just it's a generic bomb threat.
And at this point in time, are all ballots secure as far as you're aware?
As far as we're aware, there's no problem with any of the ballots. I'll defer to Commissioner Maxwell.
Every ballot in Chester County is absolutely secure. All of our buildings are secure. Part of our work was delayed for about an hour to an hour and a half, as the sheriff mentioned. But the election here in Chester County is 100% safe.
And in terms of people who were impacted that were trying to vote, I don't know who this would be a question directed to. They're going to the other polling locations, and that's been extended till 10 o'clock. Does that also include other voters, or it's just the impacted voters who are going to the impacted building?
The only people who may vote after 8 p.m. and until 10 p.m. are those voters who were either in line at a polling precinct anywhere in Chester County by 8 p.m. or were meant to vote at West Goshen South 2 or West Goshen South 4. Those 2 polling precincts, their voters are allowed to vote until 10 p.m. at either the Seventh-day Adventist Church on South High Street or at Glen Acres Elementary School.
How do you tell people are coming there for that reason, that they have to show something?
So they will be voting provisionally In order to vote provisionally, they need to provide their addresses as well as other information specific to that voter, and then those provisional ballots will then be reviewed at a later time. So we will know who was meant to vote at which precinct.
What is that other information, so voters who are considering going can know?
I voted by provisional ballot myself today. I had to provide my home address, my full name as it was on my registration card, my phone number, and my email address.
Did you have to vote provisionally because of the incident this evening?
No, I did not.
What was the reason that you had to vote provisionally today?
I lost my mail-in ballot, but you know what? Our voter services staff at my polling precinct did a great job taking care of me. They're going to do a great job taking care of everybody in West Goshen South 2 and West Goshen South 4.
And does this impact any other voting precinct other than those two voting precincts that you identified?
It does not.
Okay, so any other person that was in line after 8 o'clock in any other precinct in Chester County will not be afforded the opportunity to vote after 8 p.m.?
At every other precinct in Chester County, they needed to be in line by 8 o'clock p.m. And so long as they were in line by 8 o'clock p.m., they get to vote.
Thank you.
Were there any voters in the GOC when this threat was called in? Any voters who had to evacuate?
Yes, absolutely.
How many do you know?
We weren't counting on the way out.
And several of you said that you were prepared, for whatever may happen. Was there anything, any indication prior to this that there would be these specific threats, or were you just generally prepared for?
No, we
anything?
have, we have learned a lot along the way, as every other county has, and we really set up a structure where in the event that anything went wrong, we had a response, an immediate response, to make sure that everybody was safe and secure and our ballots were safe and secure.
But things are fine in terms of counting. I mean, obviously there's no bomb threat, but no full disruption to counting the ballots, getting the votes in, and whatnot.
There was no disruption whatsoever.
What time do you anticipate the precincts having the votes in at the other locations other than the ones that were impacted?
Well, they should be arriving now. They all should be arriving with their information.
So from the time that the polls close until the time that the precincts are able to report, how long do you anticipate that to be?
It varies, because if there are still people in line, they must allow them to vote, so some may be longer than the others, and then they have to drive here.
So the first ballots that could have been counted were just arriving at the GOC as the bomb threat lifted, as people went back and forth.
No, not quite. That was a little early yet for them.
Well, I will say that I was over at my precinct here in the borough, and they did not have the tape posted until about 5 minutes before I got notice of this press conference. So it seemed like there might have been a little bit of a lag time between when the polls closed and when the tape was available at the precinct.
That's very likely, yes. They have to organize and get things together.
Thank you.
Sheriff, can you just spell your last name for me so I can have it?
First name is Kevin, and Dykes, D as in David, Y-K-E-S.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And is there anything you can say to voters who might feel upset or intimidated or afraid after this, who might not want to come back out? People who were meant to vote here.
It's very disappointing that elections, which are run by nonpartisan election officials, attract so much negative attention. And I think every resident in Pennsylvania, regardless of their affiliation or passion about a particular candidate, feels that in some way this year. But that also means that it's incredibly important for them to get out and vote, because their vote matters as much as anybody in the country or the world. So we're encouraging all of our residents to get out, make sure they get their vote counted, because this is just an example of how important that vote is.
And I just want to go back to the 911. You said 911 is in that building? The 911 dispatch is
Yes, sir.
in that building? How was that impacted at all for that hour you mentioned people had to
The building was
evacuate?
evacuated, the whole entire building.
So was the 911 and dispatch
Yes.
system interrupted for an hour as well?
Yes.
No.
But they will there was a second location at the Public Safety Training Center out in South Coast.
Oh, there's another location that picked up.
Once it was evacuated, they immediately began to move operations over to that location.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.